So get ready for your close-up, Miss DeVille.
After Johnson and Lucky said, you're going to be handcuffed or you're under arrest, and you said that there was a warrant. What happened next?
Officer Lucky hadn't put his hands behind his back, and I noticed that in the driver's right hand was something. It was paper or something, and I took it out of his hand and I had it in my left hand.
And you had that in your left hand?
Yes.
And
so that is Kim Potter. While you got the Derek Chauvin trial going on, she's going to go ahead and pull out her taser, which is actually a gun. She's going to pull out a gun and then kill dude. She shouts, taser, taser, taser. So I think at the very least, it's negligent homicide. At the very least. Because it seems as though she had pulled out the taser, shouting that it was the taser. So, negligent homicide. There's a dead body. The guy was already arrested. And she's sitting there saying that she took something out of the guy's hands. So the officer arrests him and says, don't tense up. And then when you look at the video, Kim Potter's putting her hands in between this, in between that. Then the guy takes off, and then she pulls out her taser. She was actually the chief. She's the one that taught the taser training to everybody else. And there's never been any known instance for when this has happened. Never has a police officer went to pull a taser, but instead pulled out their gun. Doesn't it feel like, it would be heavier, right? It would be heavier, it'd be cold, it'd be steel. So let's listen to some more Kim Potter. This is Kim Potter. At the very least, this is negligent homicide. Because, what, you pulled out a gun instead of a taser? I only meant to kick him, officer, but instead I decapitated him. I only meant to just poke him a little bit, Your Honor. I only meant to poke him a little bit, Your Honor. But instead, it looks like the latent intent. But I wonder, why did she have her hand on her gun to begin with? Because it's a male? Because it's a black male? She couldn't handle a black male, by herself, so she would have to have a gun. Was she antsy? Was she trying to show all her boys that she trained what Mama Bear can do?
then what happened next? Pipe strike that. When you did that, I take it you got closer to the driver?
Yes. I reached into the driver's hand and took out what he had in his right hand.
Right hand or left hand?
His right hand, and I held it in my left hand.
Notice how she says the driver. The driver. It's Dante Wright. So a racist piece of shit. Let's say a sexist racist. Let's put this in the worst possible. If you're coming up to a person and you don't even think that person of a color that you don't like, of a gender that you don't like, that's not even a human being to you. That ain't even a person. That's not even a person. They said her hand was on her gun to begin with. And it looked like the arrest was already taken care of. What the hell was she meddling for? It seemed like as soon as she started meddling, then that's when he tried to take off, Dante Wright did. Now, I'm not going to defend Dante Wright. He shouldn't have been murdered, but he should have been arrested. And then he got into the car. And if he would have got into the car, that could have been a dangerous situation. But they're not saying anything like that. They're saying that, she thought one thing, but it was wrong. It was the other. And then by calling him the driver, that's dehumanizing him. That's not Dante Wright. That's not a person with a name. That's just the subject. That was just the target. That was just the
what happened next?
non-human.
Officer Lucky started to say something about, don't do that, don't tense up, stop doing that. And then it just went chaotic.
What do you remember happening after that?
I remember a struggle with Officer Lucky and the driver at the door. The driver was trying to get back into the car.
Well, he was trying to get back in the car. What did you do?
I went around Officer Lucky as they're trying to get back in the door. I'm between the door and Officer Lucky and the driver. And the driver's getting into the car.
And what happened next?
And they're still struggling, and I can see Sergeant Johnson and the driver struggling over the gear shifts, because I can see Johnson's hand, and then I can see his face.
And you knew Johnson for many years before this, is that right?
Yes.
And by looking at his face at that point in time, what did you interpret it to mean?
He had a look of fear on his face.
A lot of weird things. She's remembering this little detail and that little tiny detail, but she couldn't remember that the taser's on the left side and not the right side. So and then she'll say, I can't remember. Could you remember, at that point? I have no idea what I said. You said taser, taser, taser. We all heard you say taser, taser, taser. So, yeah, this testimony is super fucked.
Something I'd seen before.
Did you say anything when you saw this? What did you do?
We were struggling. We were trying to keep him from driving away. It just went chaotic. And then I remember yelling, taser, 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 and nothing happened. And then he told me I shot him.
Can you proceed, or
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. After the driver said you shot him, do you remember what you said, or if you don't remember, did you look at the video and see what you said? Or do you actually remember what you said, I guess is my question, not with help from the video.
I don't remember what I said.
And what do you remember next, if anything?
They had an ambulance for me, and I don't know why. And then I was at.
Well, you're a police officer, and you were just in a traumatic shooting. People want to sit there and take the side of goddamn psychotic criminal motherfuckers. Imagine what she must feel. Imagine how she feels as she went through this. Dante Wright lost his goddamn life. Imagine how he feels. And so, Kim Potter, I wanted to just point out there's no tears. No tears comes out of her eyes. So this is a Rittenhouse kind of, crying. This reminded me of the killing of Boone County, Kentucky, white woman. The killing of it was a white woman, so that's why it was, but it was also close to home too. And the police officer in that outfit, he was all calm, cool, collected until he said he jumped up on the hood and then shot her right in the heart. It's not Samantha Spade. It was, what was her name? Shit. But he choked up. He jumped up on the hood and shot and killed her in the heart. And he's a police officer, so he didn't get in any trouble whatso goddamn ever. He didn't get in any trouble whatso goddamn ever. But when he's, said that he shot and killed her, he choked up a bit.
I was at the station. I don't remember a lot of things afterwards.
Do you remember saying something about prison?
No.
If you did say that, do you have any idea now why you would say that?
No.
Was the climate back then about police officers a little rough?
Comments about prison. What did she say right after that? Because apparently they're making a big deal about she said something about prison afterwards. What? She saved prison time or something? She saved some money with not having to do. Be interesting to hear what they're talking about. I wanted to point out that, like the Rittenhouse thing, she's crying, right? She's crying without any tears, and she wants a judge to come save her. She wants somebody to save her. And when the guy was like, "Hey, you want to carry on?" and she was like, "Okay, fine." You're my fucking lawyer, you motherfucker. Like, take a break here. You want a cup of water? Have a goddamn twinge of humanity. Eventually, they're going to ask, the judge is going to ask Kim if she needs a moment, and Kim will say, "Yes, I do need a moment." But this whole case is clearly negligent homicide. It's clearly negligent, reckless homicide.
You don't remember saying it?
No.
And you don't know why you said it?
No.
Do you remember the response that Sergeant Johnson or Major Johnson gave you?
No.
And when next do you remember what happened, if anything? If you remember.
I remember getting an ambulance, and then I was at the station. Okay, so stopping at 20201. You have the firearm in your right hand, correct? And you are pointing it directly at Mr. Wright, correct?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Miss Potter, do you need a break? Okay. Okay, members of the jury.
We're going to come back at 1:30. The judge is going to say, so, Kim Potter fucked the entire arrest up. You're allowed to effectuate arrest. You're trying to run away, gets in the car. It was a danger. I think Kim Potter might have actually had a better defense if she said, he was a threat to the neighborhood. He was a danger to the neighborhood. But instead, she just flat out fucked up. And so, I don't know if she recognizes that she could have, latent white supremacist or sexist views. But it just seems to me that, the driver, Dante Wright, isn't a person to Kim Potter. And so when he's not a person, she walks up with her hand on the gun, right? Accidentally. Yeah, right. Hey, I pretended to go pull that taser, but instead I pulled the gun and I saved the prison, time and money. Is that what she said about prison? It'd be interesting. They're making a big deal about the, prison comment. And also, since she used to be a police officer, I've seen videos where they just kind of just shit on the person that they arrested. So I can see Kim Potter just talking all the shit in the fucking world to a person who's like, can I have a moment? Can I have a human moment? It's almost like, this is poetic justice. It's like the bad person being in hell asking you for a drink of water. So, and, when they needed a moment, a human moment, did she give some fucking Karen answer? Did she just, say, who gives a shit about your life? Or did she actually say, I hear you, you're a person. Aunt B, Mayberry. People want to go back to Mayberry. Remember the good old days when America was like Mayberry? Remember the good old days when America was like Mayberry? You had that good old Aunt B, right? You had old Otis the drunk. You threw him in jail. You had Andy, didn't even walk around with the damn gun. When it comes to this Kim Potter, I could easily see she had some latent racism, and so she accidentally pulled a taser. Bullshit. I think she, accidentally, quote unquote, and then turned to her cop buddies and was like, yeah, I accidentally, wink, wink, grabbed the taser. So this has never happened in America, so it sounds like it's a 1 in a million chance. A taser does kind of have the same, style that's in the shape of a gun, but it'd be like pulling out a water pistol versus, pulling out a lead pipe. There's a weight difference. She's the chief of the tasers. It's always on the right side or left side, so, that was consistent. And, yeah, I think that would be the biggest thing is give me the gun. If I'm a juror in this case, give me the taser and give me the gun. And then I'll just sit there and weigh the two and kind of see the handle. Because the taser, sometimes you have a little place where you can put the thumb. But with guns, it's just just a smooth stock, whatever. So I don't believe her crying. I don't believe Kim Potter's crying. I don't believe it's real. I think she's fake. I think she's putting her hands in her face. I think she's, coming up with all this exaggerated bullshit because she fucked the whole thing up and she didn't give a fuck. Now that she's, getting bad, it's a bad look. Now she gives a shit. Now she gives a shit.
After you shot Dante Wright, you didn't behave like someone who had just saved Sergeant Johnson's life, did you? I was very distraught. I just shot somebody. I've never done that. Well, you never asked Sergeant Johnson if he was okay, right? I don't remember the conversations. You didn't check in on him at all, right? I don't know. Well, you saw the video when Sergeant Johnson fed you the line, that guy was trying to take off with me. You didn't bite, right? You didn't respond to that at all, did you? The video, I was crying. I was in shock. And he was trying to make you feel better, wasn't he? The objection is sustained. Well, he didn't remember saying it, right? You heard that testimony? Yes. And you don't remember him saying that, right? No. And you didn't say anything like, thank God I shot that guy and saved your life. You didn't say anything like that, right? The objection is overruled. You didn't say that, right? No. You didn't ask Sergeant Johnson anything except to call Chuck, right? I don't remember what I asked him.
Call Chuck.
On the video, right? Yes. You'd agree that as a police officer, you have the duty to render aid and communicate information to other officers, right? Yes. And it's part of your job to assist those who are hurt or injured, true? Yes. And to communicate to other officers what you know about a particular scene, right? Yes. Give them whatever information you can to help them do their jobs, to help render assistance, things like that, right? Yes. But you didn't do any of those things on April 11th, did you? No. You stopped doing your job completely. You didn't communicate what happened over the radio, right? No. You didn't make sure any officers knew what you had just done, right? No. You didn't run down the street and try to save Dante Wright's life, did you? No. You didn't check on the other car that had been hit, did you? No. That all happened just down the road from you. Yes. You were focused on what you had done, because you had just killed somebody. I'm sorry it happened. I'm so sorry. Miss Potter, from your reaction today, and from your reaction on your video, you didn't plan to use deadly force that day, did you? No. You didn't want to use deadly force, did you? The objection is overruled. No. No. Because you knew that deadly force was unreasonable and unwarranted in this circumstance. I didn't want to hurt anybody. You didn't want to hurt anybody. No. That's why you said, I'm going to go to prison. Don't. All right. The objection is sustained. Miss Potter, you know the difference between left and right.
So the prison comment, no, she didn't say she saved the thing. She just said that she was going to go to prison. So, yeah, you just negligently killed somebody. And so that's better. That's better. Because if she was saying she saved the prison system some money because you took care of a criminal because it only cost, a bullet, it only cost you, how much the bullet cost, instead of, putting the accused person through the rigmarole, the cumbersome.
It's not been asked. The objection is sustained. Nothing further.
So, yeah, to all you Karens out there, you might actually get a Karen trying to prosecute your ass. So, you've been having a nice little fun day in the sun, getting away with anything and everything, but you can't be a fucking criminal motherfucker. You can't be a criminal motherfucker. I had some spit. Sorry. But, yeah, to you white Karens out there, just being a little tantrum, just a little. But, you put a gun in your hand, anybody could pull a fucking trigger. Anybody could pull a trigger. So it didn't look like it was fun being Kim Potter at that point in time right there. And it also looks like they both have kind of crappy lawyers, because it didn't seem like anybody really knew what the hell was going on, to be honest with you, or why. Anyways, so there, yeah, that's Kim Potter. That's clearly a negligent homicide. It's clearly reckless. And, yeah, this has been the second day the jury has deliberated. So we'll see how the case turns out. I think it's clearly negligent homicide. But a white woman police officer trying to make an arrest, will the jury show her any sympathy whatsoever, in spite of her, fake tears, and in spite of her fakeness, and in spite of her probable latent racism and sexism? We'll find out.